Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
General DeJoy officially resigned today following controversy in his position. He announced plans to step down last month with no date set. Today's decision comes just weeks after deciding to cut 10,000 workers and billions of dollars from the Postal Service, and a day after nationwide protests.
Are you kidding me? Another one caved.
Yep. And for context here, DeJoy was a Trump appointee from his first administration. He was
in charge of Amazon Mail.
He was in charge of slowing down the post office during COVID so that people couldn't mail in their ballots. If everyone will remember, that was why DeJoy was posted to the Postmaster General, so that he could make the post office less efficient.
Perfect.
Are we going to let them privatize the Postal Service? No!
Resignation is after 5 years in the office. Deputy Postmaster General Doug Tulino will be the interim Postmaster General until an official replacement is found.
KDRV, ABC 12 reporting in. Like, it's a bunch of cowards, man. This is exactly why young people should have taken over about 10 years ago. We should have started pushing people out of their jobs. Because then try that on a 40-year-old. You know, like, it ain't happening. Ain't going down like you think. God.
And you know, it's not like DeJoy was going to be the guy to stand up to Trump. Like, he's a Trump ally, so he was going to fold eventually.
After firing 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Because that's their plan. Just defund everything until it just stops working.
Yeah.
This is still alive. Let's dive back in here. Let's see where they're at. Oh, it's over.
Oh, Tom Cotton. He's the chairman of this committee. Gross.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the Senate Intelligence Committee Annual Worldwide Threats Hearing. I'd like to begin by welcoming our esteemed...
Like adversaries, whether it's threats to take over Greenland or over the Panama Canal, destructive trade war with Canada, or literally threatening to kick Canada out of the Five Eyes. I feel our credibility is being enormously undermined with our allies, who I believe, and I think most of us on this committee...
I'm just hearing shit fall off of my fucking end table over there. I'm like, what are you doing?
Regardless of party beliefs, makes our country safer and stronger. But how can our allies ever trust us as the kind of partner we used to be when we, without consultation or notice, for example, stop sharing information to Ukraine?
Scott says to go to the last two questioners. They're also apparently spicy.
This one?
Is it Mr. Morin?
I think these are the last two.
Yeah, we'll play from there, see what happens.
To achieve its maximalist objectives via peace agreement.
Since the privatization of the Royal Mail in Britain, the Postal Service has been crap. Way overpriced for a stamp, and now they're talking of stopping Saturday Post. That's him. Who just passed him. God damn.
Is it that gay?
Director Gobbert, same question. You've said it.
Is it him? Hoggle?
Hoggle?
He does look like Hoggle. A wee bit.
Apparently him and Nest is the people we're looking for.
Okay.
Thank you. At least the impression I got was there was no classified information discussed. Is that correct?
Senator, my answer is the same as the director of the CIA's.
So the question has to be posed to Secretary Hegseth whether he declassified the information and at what point he did declassify it. Do you agree?
Yes, I defer questions to the Secretary of Defense.
Okay. Director Patel.
Somebody dry him out so we can answer questions.
Are you conducting an investigation of these discussions and activities?
Get out of my office.
Thank you, Senator. As I informed the vice chairman on the same question, I found out about this late last night, early this morning, so I don't have an update for you on that.
Well, thank you. When you get an update, we'd appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir.
Director Gabbard, were you overseas during any parts of these discussions?
Yes, Senator, I was.
Were you using your private phone or a public phone for the signal discussions?
I won't speak to this because it's under review. But
public phone. Public phone. She used her iPhone.
Oh, so you let Elon jailbreak all y'all phones so y'all can get whatever you wanted, huh?
The National Security Council. Once that review is complete, I'm sure we'll share the results with the committee.
What is under review? It's a very simple question. Are you your private phone or an officially issued phone? What could be under review?
What? Yeah. What? Tulsi, what's under review there? Director of National Intelligence.
Why is the kid screaming?
Tulsi Gabbard. Babies just scream around her.
Like I'm looking at her in the monitor. She's not even mad. She's just yelling at the TV. I'll be back.
National Security Council is reviewing all aspects of how this came to be, how the journalist was inadvertently added to the group chat, and what occurred within that chat across the board.
But so you were not going to disclose anything about whether you use the phone. Director Radcliffe, there's been indication that the CIA has warned recently retired personnel about the vulnerabilities of Signal and other encrypted messaging applications. If that's the case, why were you discussing these issues on Signal?
Good question.
Senator, Signal use, as I've said repeatedly, is permissible for work purposes. I've never said that end-to-end encryption apps like Signal are a substitute for classified systems, and I was not discussing classified information in this setting.
But as you've indicated previously, perhaps the Secretary of Defense was discussing classified information, and only he can be held accountable in terms of whether it was classified or declassified at the point when he spoke. Is that accurate?
Well, I didn't say it that way. I said the Secretary of Defense is the original classification authority, and my understanding is that his comments are that any information that he shared was not classified.
But you have no way to verify that?
I don't.
Again, this is a very troubling example and a great lapse in our intelligence and our discussion. One further point, if you are not aware of any classified information on the discussions back and forth, would it be appropriate for the author to release the entire text of what he heard or transcribed?
I think the author has released, my understanding, essentially almost all of the information as it's been related to me. I don't know what calculation the author made with regard to what information would be released or not.
Well,
but again, I can again confirm that with respect to the communications that were related, as to me, there was no classified information.
According to the article, quote, the message contained information that might be interpreted as related to actual and current intelligence operations, and the author did not disclose that information. So the question would be, if he disclosed everything he heard, in your view.
That wouldn't be classified information. I know the context of what that is, and I think the author said might be interpreted as related to intelligence information. It was not classified information.
So it goes back to my point. If he released all this information he did not release, he could do so without any liability at the federal level.
I think you're asking for a legal answer that I'm not able to give you, but.
Mr. Patel, can you opine? You're a lawyer and you're the director of the FBI. Would he face any legal liability if he released the information?
Because of the questions you and the Vice Chairman have put to me, I'm not going to prejudge the situation, and that legal call is ultimately for the Department of Justice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But you work for the Department of Justice. The FBI
thank you,
director.
Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for joining us and for your service. Just to make sure I understand some of the basics here. So, Director Radcliffe, you were a member of the Houthi PC small group signal chain, correct?
I was.
Yeah, and so were the Vice President, the Secretaries of State and Defense, the National Security Advisor, and Ms. Gabbard, correct?
I believe so. I don't have a list of who was invited to be on.
And so was national political reporter Jeffrey Goldberg, correct?
I don't know that.
Yes, you do.
I don't know Jeffrey Goldberg, and I've already testified. I don't know
Yes, you do.
Whether or how he was added.
Okay, well, he was a member of the signal chain, and the discussion included the Vice President's private opinion on the wisdom of proposed U.S. strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Vance, quote, I think we are making a mistake. I am not sure the President is aware of how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There was a strong argument for delaying this a month. You don't recall?
I don't. As you
don't recall seeing that?
Read that. I don't.
It included the private opinions of the Secretary of Defense on the timing of strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Director Radcliffe, surely you prepared for this hearing today. You were part of a group of principals, senior echelons of the U.S. government, in now a widely publicized breach of sensitive information. You don't recall whether the Vice...
Okay, sorry.
So, Mikey, if you want to go back like a minute, you can start this guy, and he really tears into him. He doesn't give any fucks about offending these people.
The baby needed a diaper, and Mrs. Famine texted me. Was like, "Hey, I ordered some food, so you should probably get it. It's a frozen pizza." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Thank you all for joining us and for your service. Just to make sure I understand some of the basics here. So, Director Radcliffe, you were a member of the Houthi PC small group signal chain, correct?
I was.
Yeah, and so were the Vice President, the Secretaries of State and Defense, the National Security Advisor, and Ms. Gabbard, correct?
I believe so. I don't have a list of who was invited.
Come on, man.
And so was national political reporter Jeffrey Goldberg, correct?
I don't know that.
Yes, you do.
I don't know Jeffrey Goldberg, and I've already testified. I don't know whether or how he was added.
Okay, well, he was a member of the signal chain, and the discussion included the Vice President's private opinion on the wisdom of proposed U.S. strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Vance, quote, I think we are making a mistake. I am not sure the President is aware of how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There was a strong argument for delaying this a month. You don't recall?
He's like, sure, whatever.
I don't. As you
don't recall seeing that?
Read that? I don't.
It included the private opinions of the Secretary of Defense on the timing of strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Director Radcliffe, surely you prepared for this hearing today. You were part of a group of principals, senior echelons of the U.S. government, in now a widely publicized breach of sensitive information. You don't recall whether the Vice President opined on the wisdom of the strikes? That's your testimony today under oath?
In that setting, I don't recall.
Here's what Secretary Hegseth said, quote, waiting a few weeks or months does not fundamentally change the calculus. Two immediate risks on waiting. One, this leaks and we look indecisive. Two, Israel takes an action first or Gaza ceasefire falls apart and we don't get to start this on our own terms. Your testimony is you don't recall the Secretary of Defense sending that message or reading it?
I recall there being an exchange. I don't recall the specifics as you're reading it.
Well, let's put it this way, Director Radcliffe, a discussion by senior U.S. officials on the timing and risks of a proposed military campaign, and disagreements between the president and the vice president about U.S. plans and intentions would be of obvious interest to foreign intelligence services, would it not?
Yes.
And they were discussing the timing of sending U.S. air crews into enemy airspace where they faced an air defense threat, correct?
I'm going to, Senator, defer to the other principles that you're referring to about what the meaning and the context of what they were
talking about
auditing.
the timing of U.S. airstrikes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and therefore the timing of sending U.S. air crews into hostile airspace, correct?
Yes.
And therefore the time period during which enemy air defenses could target U.S. air crews flying in enemy airspace, correct?
I don't know that.
You do know that. Let me ask this question, General Hawk. You lead America's signals intelligence collection. Would the private deliberation of foreign senior officials about the wisdom and timing of potential military action be a collection priority for you and the U.S. intelligence community?
Senator, it's our job to do indications and warning.
Tim, what'd you say this guy's name was?
I don't know. I don't know his name. I can look him up, though.
For both the plans and intentions of adversary leaders and for military commanders.
And would not information...
Man, the one time the name tags are not like in frame. You know what I mean? Like the one time.
About the timing of airstrikes allow a military to pre-position or cue air defense systems to shoot down enemy aircraft?
I think, Senator, from our perspective, any advance warning is something that we certainly are trying to protect.
Yeah. Yes.
That senator is Georgia Senator John Ossoff.
A Georgia man.
A Democrat, one of the two Democratic Georgian senators.
Oh, that's right. Both of those are Democratic now.
Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
What? Whoa. Come on.
Play that again. Play that again. That, you know what? That deserves to be a clip.
Oh my. Are you kidding me right now? Hold on.
Huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national political reporter...
You can characterize it how you want.
...was made privy to sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization.
Mistake of adding a reporter...
And that wasn't a huge mistake? That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterized it as a
embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of, correct?
No.
The gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the witnesses again for their appearance today. I sense the vice.
I guarantee you, Kash Patel, as soon as they walk out, was like, that went pretty well, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys. What's that?
That was okay, right? I mean, I'm not going to get fired. Some of you might get fired, but I'm not getting fired.
But I could see him being the yappy little dog trying to, like, cheer everybody up. And they're just like, shut the fuck up, Kash. God.
Mr. Chairman has something to add.
I do.
So I will recognize him briefly.
Well, again, I thank the witnesses. But what you're saying doesn't make sense on the face of it. Everybody knows, at least Director Radcliffe, you had the courtesy of acknowledging you were on the chain.
Yeah.
Director Gabbard wouldn't even touch that, even though we've got our initials. And if you want a comparison, think back to the beginning of the Ukraine war, when the United States, in concert with our then ally, the United Kingdom, declassified a lot of Putin's battle plans that allowed the Ukrainians to push back successfully on the Russian invasion. How was that? That was gone through a real process of declassification. As Senator Ossoff so clearly made the point, this information out, potentially where our adversary could reposition its defenses, in the unwillingness of the individuals on this panel who are on the chat to even apologize or acknowledging what a colossal screw-up this is, speaks volumes.
Thank you to our witnesses for your appearance. A few administrative matters. As I mentioned earlier, Senator Collins is under the weather. She regrets that she could not be here for your testimony. Senator Risch, likewise.
Oh, man, Susan Collins wasn't there? That's such a shame. Oh, boy. I really miss Susan Collins not being there.
Whatever will we do?
Wow. These people, except for the military officers, like the two actual active military officers who are there.
Hey there, everyone.
Sorry.
But Patel and Gab and the other guy, whew. Huh. They should all be fired and investigated.
Yeah. At the very least, it's time for an audit. It's time to get some maybe attorneys general in there and just kind of, let them really investigate. Well, oh, that's right.
Right, yeah.
It's just like dirty cops, man. They're going to investigate themselves. They're going to investigate themselves and find no wrongdoing,
I mean, and this is the reason that we have these Senate hearings. And I mean, that wasn't the specific reason for that hearing. But because it happened the day before, then we get to talk about it in real time. And it's the reason that the legislature needs to find its backbone again.
Right.
To do stuff like this, hold these people accountable in public.
Check this out.
Marco Rubio, circa 2016.
When I'm president of the United States, neither she nor any of these other people are going to be above the law, whether it's her or Eric Holder for what he did on Fast and Furious or any of these other folks. People are going to be held accountable if they broke the laws of this country. This president obviously is willing to protect his political cronies, but we're going to hold people accountable. Nobody is above the law, not even Hillary Clinton, even though she thinks she is.
So this is...
First of all, who the fuck is the guy making all the faces?
I don't know. I forget his name. His name is...
It's distracting.
JVL.
All right, JVL, quit making those faces.
I mean, sure.
Callow individuals get made enough.
Here's one from Stephen Miller, August 13th, 2022. One point that doesn't get made enough about Hillary's unsecure server, illegally used to conduct state business, obviously created to hide the Clintons' corrupt pay-for-play. Is that a sad face? Okay. Foreign adversaries could easily hack classified ops and intel in real time from the other side of the globe.
Enough about Hillary's unsecure...
He's awfully quiet today.
Yeah, he's awfully... Well, I want to know what Stephen Miller thinks.
Got two problems here. Two words: top secret.
Right. Yeah.
Before it was servers, it was classified. It was sort of this amorphous idea that maybe it was wrong. Everyone knows what top secret means. I've had a top secret clearance. It's big red flashing letters, top secret. You know when you're looking at something that's top secret or dealing with it. In this case, the public will resonate with that. Hey, if you're hiding that on a private server, that's a very real problem.
Well, and the other
likely
thing is,
criminal charges to follow if they're being fair about it.
Likely criminal charges. Likely.
There you go. Pete?
Yeah.
Holy shit. She's blinding me still. Why does she always blind me?
Any unauthorized release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such, says Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, here's the one I was looking for, but I couldn't find it.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
This is where I saw it. Yeah. This is it. Yeah, this is it. This is what I was looking for. This is what set me off this morning.
They covered up. It's incredible.
No, the double standard is incredible. Imagine if it was, I don't know, Donald Trump, what the media would be doing to him right now, eviscerating him. Or imagine if it was a member of the military, which we've seen from General Cartwright and General Petraeus. They still go after these guys for a tiny, tiny fraction of what she willfully did and betrayed her country in doing so, supposedly for convenience, but actually so she could have a different set of standards and hide her conduct and the conduct of the Clinton Foundation, Benghazi, everything else, so she could stay away from and above the law. And it turns out foreign services want to know what our Secretary of State thinks. And in this instance, they did whatever they could to break an unsecure server in her basement. It tells you everything you need to know.
Wait a second. It's actually worse than that, because some of those emails using that unsecured private server were to and from the President of the United States.
Sure.
So these foreign intelligence services were reading the emails of President Obama. I don't believe we've ever seen anything like that before, ever.
No, of course not, and potentially in real time. The technology that others can use once they've got into devices is to listen and see in real time. Who knows what they heard and what they have, and the kind of leverage that gives in negotiations or conversations when you know what our hand is and you can anticipate it or get in front of it, or you know our sources and methods, because we know aides to Hillary Clinton also removed markings so that they could send classified, sometimes secret, top secret information to her personal email, which our enemies were potentially.
How about battle plans and timelines?
Yeah, how about what if they release like very specific details about military actions? Like, what about that?
Like 2 hours before they happen.
To, I don't know, some random guy on fucking Signal.
Actually reading in real time. That has consequences, including lives and reputation of this great country.
Okay.
Okay is right.
Okay.
I mean, what a joke.
Yeah, the Trump administration is full of the most unserious people. And they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Not a clue.
And they don't want to listen to nobody else.
Yeah. And because they're all Trump loyalists, like I just saw an article, Trump's defending the guy who started the group chat. One of his national security advisors. But they should all be fired. I mean, you can't fire the vice president, but you can fire everyone else.
Oh, Mark Kelly.
Senator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to come back to the topic of the day here, the signal chain as reported by The Atlantic. Ms. Gabbard and Mr. Ratcliffe, you each testified that there was no information operational in nature, no classified information. So I want to ask each of you just a series of, just respond yes or no. I'll start with Ms. Gabbard. In the signal chain that we have been talking about, was there any mention of a target in Yemen?
Oh, gulp.
I don't remember mention of specific targets.
Any generic target?
I don't remember. Say it. I don't remember.
I believe there was discussion around targets in general.
Mr. Ratcliffe.
I think that's consistent with my recollection. Again, I don't have access to that.
Was there any mention, Ms. Gabbard, of a weapon or weapons system?
Why doesn't he just ask these people to pull out their phones and be like, "Can you just show me the chat?"
Yeah, open your phone up. Hold your face up here.
Actually, have them open their phones to prove that it's not on their phones.
Yeah,
and
their
personal phones.
Show me the signal's not on your personal phone. That's your official phone. Put it over there. We're not going to touch it. Open your phone.
At least have the common courtesy to delete it before you came into the room today.
But I've been talking to this guy online, and he's been
specific weapons systems being named.
I'm not talking about specific, any weapon or weapon system.
I don't recall specific names of systems or weapons being used.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm not asking whether, I don't want you to.
And see, when they do that, they think they're being clever by getting around it. You just look like either a slime ball or very stupid.
Yeah.
And we're gonna stop assuming slime ball here in a minute and just start talking slower.
Tell me what the specific weapon was, but any weapon at all. Mr. Ratcliffe, same question.
I don't recall.
How about anything about timing? Ms. Gabbard.
His eye is twitching. He's so mad.
I don't recall specific timing.
Was there any mention?
I won't get into the detail of the conversation, but obviously there was a significant amount of planning and internal discussions that had occurred prior to and outside of this Signal chat.
Mr. Ratcliffe, you're nodding your head. Any mention of any military unit whatsoever? Mr. Ratcliffe.
Not that I recall.
Ms. Gabbard.
Not that I recall.
Okay, so I understand that DoD policy prohibits discussion of even what is called controlled unclassified information, or CUI, on unsecured devices. Are both of you aware of that DoD policy?
I haven't read that policy.
Oh my God. The Director of National Intelligence doesn't know. See, it was bad at the confirmation hearings when all these people were like, "Oh yeah, I'll read up on that. Oh yeah, I'll check into that." I wasn't aware of that.
That was a lie too.
And now the Director of National Intelligence says, "I don't know about this intelligence policy that we have about classified information and uncontrolled classified information."
Like,
what do you mean?
Like, we told y'all she was a mole.
God. Also check the chat.
Our chat? Or the
Our
chat?
Yeah. No, our chat.
Oh.
My chat. I swear it doesn't have classified information in it.
How you doing, ASU?
Oh, this is from the beginning.
Yeah. I found the whole thing. I mean, we don't have to watch the whole thing, but I want to watch parts of it.
Okay.
See.
Not familiar with the DoD policy, but I would say that the Secretary of Defense is the original classification authority for DoD in deciding what would be classified information.
Ms. Gabbard, does the intelligence community have a policy that prohibits discussion of controlled unclassified information?
Yes.
It does. Okay. Controlled unclassified information, according to DoD, includes information that is information that has not been approved for public release. Would you, of what's been disclosed publicly of the signal chain, would either of you feel that that would be approved for public release? Ms. Gabbard.
The discussion that took place in that Signal chat group was a conversation reflecting national security leaders and the vice president around the president's objectives.
So yes or no, would you approve that for public release?
I don't feel I can answer that question here.
Because of the nature of this hearing?
Because of the nature of a private discussion that took place between individual leaders in our government.
It would make sense that you would not approve it for public release, wouldn't it?
There are other factors that would go into that consideration.
Mr. Ratcliffe, yes.
Yeah, like why would you even consider it? You should be like, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tulsi Gabbard is obviously not good at her job.
Whatever it is.
No.
I wouldn't approve the release of classified information. Again, as I've said, my
I'm not talking about.
So you said there is classified information. There's military dudes, man.
Classified information, Mr. Ratcliffe. I'm talking about information that has not been approved for public release. That is information that is considered controlled, unclassified information.
The principles that would have been on that would have been individuals capable of approving that for public release.
I got 20 seconds. The deliberation as to whether or not we should launch a strike on another country, would you consider that classified information, Ms. Gabbard?
Well, the information was not classified.
I'm not talking about.
He's not asking you if it was already classified. He said, in the moment, would you consider it classified?
Tim, my TDS is kicking in. My TDS is kicking in. My derangements.
All they know is obfuscate, deflect, and deny. That's all they know.
Unbelievable.
Check out some of our other content. We would love to see what you think about the one on the screen right now.